I think the main thing to remember is just eat enough. I know that sounds obvious, but I think a lot of people, especially from a strength training background, don't necessarily understand how much fuel that they're burning engaged in any sort of conditioning, any sort of aerobic activity. Conversely, any sort of endurance athletes who are then transitioning over to strength work don't necessarily realize how much additional food they need to actually benefit from the strength training, actually recuperate, rebuild, and everything else. It's very different stressors. And, I think a lot of people, especially specialized athletes, fall into this trap where they think what I was doing before will work for me. I can just, add a few more calories on, a few more calories here, the body will adjust. And when I've seen people crash and burn on these programs, it's been, the little points before, they do just way too much work and can't recover. But one of the single biggest things is they just completely, grossly underestimate what they need to be taking in. We have a lot of people who come from, CrossFit backgrounds, things like that. We do have people who have previously done paleo diets or low-carb diets or cyclical ketogenic diets and things like that don't really emphasize the carbohydrates. Conversely, we have endurance athletes who, some of them even get wildly high on the carbohydrates, but others think about doing, these diets that, the high-fat diet that's meant to shift your metabolism in that direction. I think if you want to do any kind of hybrid program, you really have to understand that you don't have the luxury of engaging in those kind of experimental diets. You need to take a good hard look. Look at your body weight, look at the work that you're doing, quantify the work that you're doing, quantify the miles you're putting in, and eat to fuel that. And I have some of my guys at 200, 210 pounds who are on anywhere from 600 to 800 grams of carbohydrates a day, if not more. And for a lot of people, that sounds almost unfathomable. And these are not individuals who are doing, what you would consider an ungodly amount of training, but they're doing 2-hour runs, 2-3 hour bikes, things like that, and that's necessary. As far as micronutrients and everything else goes, obviously, the balanced diet is key, but too few carbohydrates, too few calories is by far and away the biggest consideration. Get people off the paleo type diet. It's just too hard to get. You can't get 700 grams of carbohydrates on that. You can't worry too much about body composition when you're doing this. This is not a type of programming that lends itself to dieting, to getting leaner or anything else. It's purely performance based. You're putting your body through so many stresses. You can't afford to be hypocaloric. You can't afford to worry about the veins on your abs at this point when you're putting your system through that kind of stress.